Good morning, everyone, and from wherever you're watching, welcome on board the program Politics Today on independent television and radio on the ITV network. Let's quickly take a look at some of the stories we're following on the program. INEC deploys 46,084 staff for Rimo Kogi Bayelsa pools, accredits 126 observers. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, said it has concluded plans to deploy 46,084 regular and ad hoc staff for the November 11 off-season governorship elections in Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa states. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu disclosed this on Friday in Abuja at a meeting with resident electoral commissioners, Rex. He said in the next 3 weeks, off-cycle governorship elections will be held in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states. The 3 elections will involve 5,409,438 registered voters who will vote in 10,510 polling units spread across 649 electoral wards in 56 local government areas. So far, all non-sensitive materials for the elections have been delivered to the 3 states. Other preparatory activities, including training, are on course. Valuable lessons have been learned from the 2023 general elections for improved performance in the forthcoming elections. That's one of the top stories we're following. And then moving on, Akeredolu's absence, Ondo PDP Assembly bicker over impeachment process following his absence in the state since they returned from his medical vacation abroad. The People's Democratic Party PDP in Ondo State and the House of Assembly yesterday disagreed over the need to commence the impeachment process of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu for voiding the 1999 Constitution as amended. The PDP had asked Akeredolu to either resume or resign, adding that his absence in the state since April this year was affecting governors. The party, in a statement by its publicity secretary Kennedy Peritai, said the time has come for Ondo State House of Assembly to immediately begin the impeachment process of Rotimi Akeredolu SAN for violation of the 1999 Constitution as amended. If you ask me, it looks like the table has turned. In the last couple of days, the emphasis has been on impeachment moves against the Deputy Governor, Lucky Adedatioa, but the table seems to have turned a little bit now. Okay, let's quickly take a look at last story. INEC plotting to stall proceedings at Appeal Court, Labour Party alleges. The Labour Party LP has alleged that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is plotting to stall election tribunal proceedings at the Court of Appeal. The party made this allegation in a statement titled Open Letter to INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu by the leadership of the Labour Party on the show of infamy and dishonor by the Commission in Election Appeal holding in Lagos, signed by its National Publicity Secretary Obiora Ifa. The statement reads, Chairman, sir, it has now dawned on us that the change of legal ground and legal guard without properly notifying the interested parties was carefully orchestrated by the Commission in alliance with our opponents with the intention to stall proceedings of the Court of Appeal and frustrate our candidate's appeal that was due to be heard on Thursday. Well, that's the much we have on some of the trending political stories on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. We'll take a short break. We'll be back to meet our guest and get the conversation on course as we look at some of the reactions that are trailing appointments made so far by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We'll be right back. Yes, indeed, it's another beautiful Saturday, and welcome on board Politics Today on independent television and radio. Let's meet our panelists today on the program. Let me thank very especially Professor Anthony Ijori. He's a professor of business administration. He's also a political and business analyst from Novena University in Delta State. Thank you for joining us, Prof.
It's a pleasure to be here.
We also have with us here in the studio the Chairman, Nigerian Society of International Law, is also a notary public, a human rights and civil society activist, Barrister Patrick Isekwene. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Luke. You had a happy viewing.
We're glad to have with us as well another human rights and constitutional lawyer, Barrister Greg Iyayi. Barrister Iyayi, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, viewers. Thank you, Duke, for having me.
Okay, let's begin our conversation by giving some perspectives to some of the actions and inactions taken by the present government to redirect the course of Nigeria and, of course, Nigerians by extension. One of the most topical things that people always talk about has to do with the state of the economy. As of today, I know the exchange rate between the naira and the dollar is over 1,000 naira, and that's unprecedented. And it looks like there is no stopping the naira from falling if the signs and the statistics are anything to go by. Let's take off from there, Barrister Greg Iyayi, Barrister Patrick Isekwene, and Professor Anthony Ijewere. But let me allow Prof to take the first shot on that.
Yes. Well, I would have expected that, democracy is supposed to be government by the people for the people. And Nigerians also expect that coming from the previous government of Buhari, where 8 years was spent, where our economy was seriously bastardized in terms of consumer goods and services, in terms of income of workers, in terms of exchange rate that you talked about a few minutes ago, and in terms of generally the economic well-being of the country. It's very, very sad that the situation is even going worse. So the question that comes to mind, where's the dividends of democracy? I still remember during Obasanjo Jonathan's regime, when a bag of rice, the highest quality of bag of rice, was not more than 8,000, 9,000 highest. In fact, we were grumbling that period that the price of bag of rice was too high. And we also know the exchange rate was 128 to the dollar, 128 naira to the dollar. And we're even saying it ought to have come down further than that. We're also aware that prices of goods and services were what? Were affordable. Were affordable. And if you also look at our import earnings, export earnings, were also very, very reasonable. So what is going on right now? That is the issue. So if you take all this together holistically, you now wonder if the APC government, as a party, do have the feelings of Nigerians at heart, in view of, because when the President Tinubu came in, we expected that there would be a kind of difference, okay, a kind of departure from what has happened in the past. But I think the first shock to Nigerians was the removal of fuel subsidy. Okay. And Nigerians would have expected that, or I would have expected that, in view of the fact that the average Nigerian lifestyle be bastardized, that it will, put some cushioning effect into place, before such drastic draconian policy was put into place. And it's very sad in the sense that in the same economy that the masses are grumbling, the House of Rep recently, got approval for CVU vehicles, jeeps. From a member, the cost of one Jeep is about 200 million naira. In this condition of where a lot of Nigerians are not happy, they cannot even meet the 3 square meters, some cannot even meet up with 2 square meters. I think, Duke, something is fundamentally wrong. I want to stop here for now.
All right, Barrister Isekwene. In spite of these perspectives that have been shared on the policies of government and the state of the economy, we've also seen government coming out with some initiatives to cushion the effects, with some monies being given to states as palliatives some state governors also taking initiative to see how all of this can trickle down. What do you make of that?
I see those actions is just to mitigate it. It has no effects. As far as I'm concerned, it's not to mitigate it. Because even the issue of subsidy thing is a serious issue. And in terms of the economy, I'm not surprised it's going to have a diverse effect. A lot of what we're saying today. How much is the price of a liter of fuel? Compared to when a bag of rice was 8,000 naira for a bag of rice. So what I'm trying to say, what triggered it, I think I saw it coming. We said it severally, that the removal of subsidy is a wind that blows nobody good. It's going to be disastrous. The economy will be affected. Everything will be affected. What are we saying today? I will not be surprised by tomorrow, by a few, even before now to December, the dollar will not be 1,500 too. It's true, because we are a consuming nation. We consume, we import, we don't produce. Everything is imported. We consume, we don't produce. Virtually everything. That's why I see dollars it's kind of very high. Everybody wants $1 to import the items. If we involve in production, most things we don't even need those dollars. Everything will be here, but we don't. So no matter the action federal government have taken so far, it's like just to you are begging the question. The federal government have tried on their own, but it is of no use, because if you see what they've done, the palliative they've released so far, the central bank, what they are supposed to be legally recommend is even beyond them. The palliative they've given is unprecedented, coupled with the financial. Where the state were even giving 5 billion to mitigate it. Apart from the rice, other thing they are donating. Okay. So how long will they go with this very well? You see, if I try to solve a problem, you should go to, fundamentally, you go to the background, not just on the surface. Okay. So it's the result of the issue of the subsidy, and well, let us be honest to ourselves. We know that the issue of subsidy was not removed by Tinubu, because it's to take effect from July. It was technically removed by Buhari. We were not signed into the budget. All the legal framework were all removed. The petroleum will all be amended. Everything has been done. So it's not constitutional for you to say you want to operate on allow subsidy to remain. There's no provision for it. The budget they passed is not. There's no provision for subsidy. The one they made ended in June. What do you expect Tinubu to do? So it's different. It's subsidy removal. That's why we're facing this crisis. Okay. So it's even beyond the government itself. All right,
Mr. Craig, let's get your perspective, because I heard someone talked about, in spite of the parlous state of the economy and the grinding that the people are going through, yes, National Assembly members are smiling. I'd like to get your take on that.
I think in law there is a principle that a man intends the consequences of his action. You cannot take an action and then when the consequences come, you say you disown them. No. As long as you took the action, you saw the consequences coming, and you are the owner of the consequences, you are the author of the consequences. What is happening now, I do not think the federal government can deny that, particularly to the common man, that they do not know it will come. How does it look like in an economy where you are telling people, the common man, tighten your belts? Tighten your belt till your stomach is, completely contracted. And then you are releasing, SUV cars to their representatives, supposed representatives, as such a stupendous amount. It is immoral. The amount for one SUV, look at what it can do in the constituency of that particular person. And then you are saying that you want to give a family's 25,000 naira. What is 25,000? It's an insult. It's an insult to Nigerians that you say you want to help Nigerians with 25,000 naira. If you go to Oba Market and you take a paper bag, will that paper bag be full? The barcode bag, will it be full after spending 25,000 naira? I think they know what they are doing. I think it's just a situation of wanting to be callous, most inhuman. I don't know how to describe it to the Nigerians. I don't think they actually mean to help the Nigerians. As far as I'm concerned, whatever they are doing is a charade, it's a facade, and it is ill-conceived. I don't know what we have done to them that they should decide to punish us like this. But as the Nigerian always says, God did now become a man prayer.
All right. But we know that for every economic policy that is initiated by government, there is always a gestation period. There's a maturation period. Prof can bear witness to that fact, that these policies that are coming up now, that our government has put in place, we're not going to see the impact overnight. Isn't that what it is, Prof?
Duke, my brother, I love your expression.
Okay, let me leave it at that. Let's leave it at that, Prof. Let's leave it at that. If you just join us, it's still Politics Today on independent television and radio. Another major issue that has attracted conversations, reactions, and counter-reactions is the appointments made so far under the present administration led by His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Just yesterday, the new FCC chairman was confirmed after an appointment by Mr. President. And the questions are coming forth that, look, it looks as if we are continuing from where the last administration under former President President Muhammadu Buhari stopped in terms of appointments that are not ethnically balanced, that are ethnically biased, and that seems to be what's playing out now. If you look at the appointments made so far, that seems to be the perspectives of some people. But let's get to our panelists here and take your perspectives too on this issue. Let me begin with you, Barrister Greg Iyayi.
But you asked a question.
Yes, I'll come back to that question later. I'll come back to that question later. I'll come back to it later. Barrister Greg Iyayi, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Barrister Greg, please go ahead. It was actually a rhetorical question. I wasn't expecting you to answer that question.
That, no problem.
It's contentious. Very contentious. We are not trying to be evasive, but the question is, postponed.
Okay.
Now, what we are saying is this. These appointments that have been made, if you look at them, they just gravitate around a particular ethnic group. And Nigerians are a little bit worried because this was one of the issues they had with the last administration, that a lot of the people were from a particular ethnic group and ethno-religious group, to be candid, and with just sprinkles. And the man was hell-bent on that. He didn't listen to anybody. Well, what I want to say is that the present people in administration, did they raise any voice that this is not fair and that it should be ethnically balanced? I don't think there was. And then if you look at the slogan, Emilokon, it is, you have done your own, it's not my turn. And
this is the manifestation of the slogan?
Yeah, of course. If I did not grumble when you were doing your own, you do not have any right to grumble when I am doing my own. Maybe it will come to Sonny Duke's turn. And he will appoint us around himself. And then nobody can actually grumble. Well, I know that politicians will normally reward those who work for them. No doubt about that. There is room for that, because we remember Bill Clinton, when a list of ambassadors were given to him, they were talking of technocrats, this one. He simply minuted on it, where are our friends? And he returned the list. Politicians do that, but in a situation in Nigeria where we are talking of ethnic balance, federal character, equity, justice, particularly to the areas where the resources of the country with which you govern the country comes from. And they are left out of very strategic appointments, because these appointments are not only, they are very strategic, very key appointments. And it does not reflect any form of balance. And it remains to be seen whether other Nigerians do not have people who are qualified, eminently qualified, to occupy these positions.
All right.
Certainly, they have people.
All right, Mr. Patrick here, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think I might say that it's the precedent set by the last government, because they committed the crime more than any other person. That is President Buhari. Most of the appointments were for the Northerners. I think that's where Tinubu boldly from what he's doing now. But they should be patient. But I know all too well that what was such action is a violation of our constitution, because it's a constitutional issue. Okay. You must comply with it. Section 14, Section 3 made it clear that all appointments should have recourse to federal character. Governments, its agencies, whatever, you must put into consideration other ethnic groups, not to allow a particular ethnic group to take charge of affairs. It must be spread among the political ethnic zones. Everybody should have share of it, which the constitution made provision for. And I believe that the president himself also took oath and is bound to defend the constitution. So, but I believe that within due course, like I said, it's a precedent set by the former. The last one was more abused by Buhari. Imagine at least what I mean is a certain. You're expecting to appoint some appointment. Let me say, EFCC, for example, since inception, I have gone through all the 5 chairmen. They are Northerners.
So there's a break from the
yes, they are Northerners. From Bawana, the rest, and all of them. From Ribadu, Elomede, all of them call them. All of them, they are all Northerners. None of them were even Southerners. Consistently, heaven is not for. We all are aware. But all central appointments were for them. So allow this man. So at least it's a Southerner. Now what he did, you see what he break through, even with the federal capital territory for the first time Southerner, because it's a federal territory. It's not owned by anybody. It's no man's land. He appointed Wike for the first time. He broke the yoke. Wike is now facing the battle of his life, because how can a Southerner become here to head us? He broke the yoke. It had never been. Whereby the minister of the state and the minister and the minister of the state, we are Northerners. A federal capital territory that's not to be held by anybody. He break the yoke. So nobody should blame this man. It's too early because he's spreading it. So Northerners should be patient.
Okay.
They've done this for so many years.
All right. Prof, yes. There are new, more perspectives now coming into the conversation. And so let's get your take on it here before my next question. Yes.
Well, I think Buhari, in fact, he aborted the federal character thing by his appointment. Some of us were looking at his actions, perhaps because he was a military man and all that. So would I expected that somebody who is a pure branded civilian should depart from such two wrongs do not make a right. To depart from such behavior by ensuring that Nigerians are given a sense of belonging. Because well, fine, Southerners are now occupying positions hitherto they were not occupying. But what is the background of that Southerner? What part of the country is it? It's a particular part of the country, which is the Southwest. Okay. Which is the Southwest. It's not the best. See, like the other barrister expressed, there are some key positions, especially as it concerns Niger Delta and all that, that you put people there whose wealth, the wealth from their land, is being used to develop the country. Exactly. Therefore, they ought to have that sense of belonging. Just because one president in the past made a mistake should not, or did something wrong, should not mean we should continue. Because there'll be no geopolitical balance. And Nigerians will not have a sense of belonging. That may even lead to start to break oil pipelines and all that, and start to cause other social ills, because of that. So I think when something is wrong, we expect that somebody who is more enlightened, who is a civilian, should be able to, breathe a new air into the whole thing, so that Nigerians will be happy. Yes, now thank God. And since this regime came into power, things are better as compared to the past. Subsidy removal, bam. Inauguration day, subsidy removal, bam. So how do you expect Nigerians? So I don't think it's the best action.
If you just join us, you're watching Politics Today. If you're following the program on ITV, and I also want to thank those who are listening on radio. Thank you very much for your time. We'll take a short break. When we return on Politics Today, we will look at the implications of these perspectives on appointments made so far, which some say it's sectional, tends to revolve around the Southwest. The barrister was quick to reference a section of the Constitution that makes it mandatory for a spread of appointments. But that section of the Constitution seems to have been turned on its head under the present leadership of the past administration, the immediate past administration. So, if that was the case then, what should we expect this time around? Is it too early to even make conversation of this nature? But nothing is ever too early, so people can have a sound warning and perhaps have a detour and maybe retrace their steps to do the right thing as early as possible so we can move the country forward. We'll take a break. We'll be back with you in a moment. Many thanks again for rejoining us on the program Politics Today on Independent Television as we bring you perspectives on appointment made so far under the presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. A major talking point is some of the key appointments that have been made. Just yesterday, of course, 2 appointments confirmation came forward. That of ESCC and that of Customs all came from the Southwest. There were also questions about a certain chairman of the board of the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, who just barely finished his NYSC. We can't forget it in a hurry, a serving minister who is still a youth corps member. These are some of the basic questions, basic issues that have been trending under the present administration. Let me get back to our panelists now. Barrister Yayi, what's the implication of all of these for the country's development?
The implication is very clear. It is that of whoever pays the piper dictates the tone. Because we will be talking of fairness, we will be talking of equity, we will be talking of if I know that I'm really not supposed to be there, then I have allegiance, loyalty to whoever appointed me, whether rightly or wrongly. That is the truth. You see, the fact that another administration has done it, the Nigerians accept it. Was it fair? Do we have to continue in error? Do we have to continue in wrongdoing? Do we have to continue in depriving other sections of the country? It's unfortunate. No, my learned friend quoted that section of the Constitution that talks of, but it's not justiciable. It's not justiciable in the sense that you cannot go to court and challenge it. Just like some other provisions in the Constitution, you know, the right to this, the right to that, and so on. You know, directive principles of state policy. They are suggestions, mere suggestions. And they are just advice to office holders that they should look at those issues. But again, you have to think of it, where the resources come from, like those of us in the Niger Delta, who are funding the states. Do we deserve to be ignored? Should we actually be ignored? Because you look at it, if the resources were coming from other regions, would they even want us to be part of it? So this is it. I think we are tired of this kind of things. And a very serious issue, it should be challenged, if not in court, at least it should be discouraged. Because when we did this kind of appointment, did it really reflect in good governance? It did not. There was no good governance. You know, there are bright brains everywhere. Thank God for Jonathan's administration. You know, there was geographical spreads of appointments. And no section could actually grumble that they were ignored. But look at the goods it did to us. We became the largest economy. We were touted as a truly democratic country. And life was easy for both the rich and also the common man. And I mean, we were not treated as a pariah nation. Even when Hillary Clinton was predicting that would be a failed state, the state didn't fail. the state survived. The state thrived because of tenaciously holding on to principles of fairness in government. It pays. The 8 years under Buhari, where there was ethnic bigotry, what did we get from it? And it is not too early for us to shout. Because if we don't shout now, when are we going to shout?
Okay, Mr. Shekwin, yes, the implications of this.
Yeah, I think the same provision of the Constitution made it clear, which have to do with the fundamental objective, why there's a wisdom there of state policies. It made it clear that the essence of it, which is clear, is to foster oneness, trust. So I mean, everyone should be involved in government. Nobody should be left out. If everybody, this one is totally against sectional, including from persons, from taking over. Because if everybody is involved, all will be on deck to move the state forward. Whereby you use the sectional to take over government, it will lead to bitterness. You know, yes. No more oneness. To foster oneness, we must go with this principle.
You are correct.
Everybody will be involved. Democratically, will be involved. Everybody will be happy. Because like the provision there, you know that it is clear by our preamble, by the other fundamental principle that Nigeria shall be a country based on democracy and social justice, which we are operating. We must operate. Where is it? Social justice is but it's not a for, but by implication, you know what it means to make sure these things are spread. So it's a dangerous one if we derive from it. But remember, if all parties involved, there'll be oneness, there'll be trust, because we believe we are one. The government is for we all. All section of the group is involved in the government. So to do otherwise is what we are going to be seeing. Exactly. So we're pushing you back. So, you know, they have different mind. Imagine they're not already complaining now that they're not comfortable with the government. So just on the implications.
All right, Prof. Let's get your thoughts on what this portends for the country against the background of the plural nature of our country in terms of religion, in terms of customs, yes, cultures, traditional.
Exactly. You know, because Nigeria is made up of heterogeneous, bodies in terms of religion, socio-ethnic groups, and all that. So we have the diversity. I thought we should enjoy diversity. And how do we enjoy diversity? It's by bringing all sections, all segments of the different ethnic groups together. And I think that is the beauty of what the federal character, that is what made the Federal Character Commission to be set up, so that there will be that sense of belonging among Nigerians, so that we can move as one nation, a project called Nigeria. I think that is the essence of it. And so any leader that is not respecting that federal character based on our historical antecedents or historical background, I think is not wishing this country the best. Because, if you watch very well, if a northern president is in power, no matter what he does, that does not favor other ethnic groups, his people will not naturally support him. Oh, he's doing very well, leave him alone. Just like we're already experiencing that of Tinubu. Okay. People from ethnic groups are already saying, if you try to correct anything or you talk objectively, they will say, leave him alone, he's doing very well. So I think that is what the federal character thing was trying to address, that, Nigerians should see themselves as one, work as one. It's only when Super Eagles is playing, Nigerians come together. Anytime Olympics, Nigerians come to. So I think we should flow, any leader should flow along that line. Because if you look at the Obasanjo's regime and Jonathan's regime, they brought technocrats, experts. Ngozi Iweala from World Bank, they went to recruit experts. They left this sentiment of ethnic group politics and all that. They went and recruited, experts in key areas of the economy. Because they want the country to move. And did we not get the result like he said? We got the result. Things were moving the right direction. There was an economic team led by Ngozi Iweala, a World Bank expert and all that. There are other areas in agriculture and all that. They were focused, and at the end of the day, the average Nigerian benefited. And I mentioned some figures already. The exchange rate at that time was about 128 to $1. A bag of rice, we all know the cost was low, 8,000, 9,000 if it's too expensive and all that. And goods were what? Goods were coming in. Did they have a negative or positive effect? Of course, it had a positive effect because there was now what? Competition. Whereas when Buhari, at a point in his administration, shut the borders and believing that will make the local industry to produce and all, what happened at the end of the day? Prices of goods and services still went up. So why? Because the right people were not in position in terms of ministers and other appointments he made, because they were concentrating, sadly, on a particular geographical area. Because when you do that, you don't get the best hands to run the ministries or to run the organizations, and at the end of the day, you and I suffer from it. So I think that ethnic balance, through Federal Character Commission should be maintained. And if not maintained, the lawyers are here. I mean, you are civil rights people, you should go and challenge it in court.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Our studio line will be open now, so you can also ventilate your views on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. We always advise that, irrespective of our emotions, we just play down a little bit and let the contributions be very, very robust. Once your line goes through, tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and then go ahead with your contribution. Please endeavor to be civil in your language. Do not be found wanting in casting aspersion on our guest or any other person outside the studio. Let's have a meaningful conversations on perspectives on President Tinubu's appointments made so far. Is it ethnically biased, or so far, in your opinion, there's been a proper geographic spread in line with the acts of the Constitution as it relates to the Federal Character Commission? That's the thrust of our discussion on the program today. So when you dial the number, tell us your name, where you're calling from, and then go ahead with your contribution. Barrister Yaye, you were quick to say that it's too early. I mean, it's not too early to engage these issues. I mean, the government of President Tinubu first term is just barely a few months old. Yeah.
How long did it take him to remove fuel subsidy? How long did it take him? Seconds or minutes at most. So if you are holding the cutlass and I know you are going to cut off my arm, so when should I shout? After you've done it? Definitely, if I have the time to shout before, it's better and safer for me. This is the time we should shout so that he doesn't get too entrenched in it, because once he's entrenched in this kind of thing, it will be difficult to move him from his position. But if now we are shouting, people are crying, and people are complaining, we say, let us look into this thing before it derails our journey. And some people around him might also be moved to say, okay, let's have a look at this issue so that we don't get too far.
Okay, let me pause you for a moment. Hello, caller. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Chris. I'm calling from Benin.
Chris, go ahead, please.
I want to contribute my take on Tinubu's appointment so far is that this appointment don't reflect true federal character as expected. He is towing the line of his predecessor, former President Buhari, and this is not right for our national unity. And then I also want to say that getting Nigeria to work is not rocket science. There are basic common things you can put in place to make Nigeria work. I don't want to use bad language on our leaders, but I just think these people they don't mean well for us. Because if they mean well for us, I don't see why they cannot make solar available. They cannot create industries with the palliative money they brought. With other public-private partnerships, they can make sure that there is a solar plant where you can produce the batteries. I use solar in my house for the past 3 years. I beg NEPA to come and cut their lights. I saw them driving by and said, please, cut this thing, I don't need it. And I'm comfortable. You can produce solar batteries, solar panels, inverters, and everything in Nigeria with such humongous amount of 5 billion per state. Every state should have a plan. Transfer of knowledge will come in from there. Yeah. And then because government is doing some concessions compact materials that cannot be easily gotten here, giving concessions to the companies that are doing this thing, then these things will be cheap. You can walk up to Mission Road, like you go to buy a plasma television, and make sure you buy a solar depending on what you can afford. If it's 150,000 or 60,000, you can get battery, get panels, get everything, and light up your house.
Okay.
This PEDC and the rest of the people, they will set up, leave their generation of energy to big companies that need them. Leave it to welders that can afford them, that cannot use solar. Then let private houses be able to get electricity through this palliative money. We're talking about just palliative money. What about the other monies that have been coming into the coffers of the country? I understand that NNPC have not even transferred money they've been selling crude oil for years to national coffers. And the government kept borrowing during the time of Buhari. They kept borrowing and borrowing. They borrowed the economy to stupor that we presently are in now. And the people just came in and compounded things again. No. Every day things are going up. The poor man is finding it very difficult to speak. This is so annoying. It's so annoying.
All right, just calm down a little bit, brother. Yeah, calm down. Everything is going to be all right. Yeah, everything's good.
Making things work for us is not rocket science.
Yeah.
These people, I don't want to call them wicked.
Okay, let's pursue there so we can give the opportunity to more people. Thank you. I mean, this caller just was very apt and incisive and inciting in his analysis. Making governance to work or make government work for the people is really not rocket science.
It's not.
I mean, looking at the energy sector or the power sector, it's been able to bifurcate in such a way that we can have, for domestic use, lesser amount of energy, and then for industrial use, higher amount of energy, where all these industrialists, companies, and what have you can actually access, you know, and that's just the way it is. So let's allow you to anchor the point you were making.
Honestly, you see, as we have said, it's not too difficult. Nigerians are not asking that you should take them to the moon. They are just asking for the basic things. And then create an enabling environment for them to work. And once you create the enabling environment, they are not asking you to give them bags of rice. Make the roads good. Provide energy for them to be able to work. And then make fuel a little bit affordable.
Okay.
And I mean, the Nigerian, there's something in us that will work the other things out.
Absolutely.
We're not going to put more stress on you.
All right. Hello, caller. Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from? The line is a bit muffled. We can barely hear you. Can you? Hello, good morning. We'll just take you off. Maybe allow you to call back again. We can barely hear what you're saying. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Yes, tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Dr. Friday from Etoma.
Dr. Friday, please go ahead.
Okay, first and foremost, after the TINUBU'S appointment, I was expecting that you should have given us the data so that we will use that to make an informed decision.
Okay.
Although the way you are talking, personally, I don't know the number of people that get appointed from this particular geopolitical zone and from this particular geopolitical zone. So I was expecting that you should tell us that you need to give us an information on that.
Okay.
So we will not see that the competition whether was by a bias or not a bias appointment.
Okay.
That's number one. Then number two, sometimes I think we are the problem of our actions. I want to say that I want to go on board. One of the things that came to the present, it is almost the one that company should be removed. So I want to say that company should. There was even a time I said, these people that are doing something should go out to do the investigation of company should go. So those companies should go. These companies are the ones that will suffer. I just say, but everybody will say that now that something is done, we are not blaming the government for removing the same company that we have to take this from. But again, we are not complaining that the palliatives are supposed to be, for the remove subsidies, you are putting some palliatives. Now the president has put in palliatives. We are not saying that the palliatives are not making sense. Then you should have used the money for palliatives to repair roads. All of this, to me, I think they are really confusing the leadership of this country.
we should say what we want and then stand by what we want. That is my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Friday, for the useful insights that you brought to bear in the conversation. Thank you very, very much. Okay, our studio line is still open. 08077770300. That's the studio line. You can dial it right now, right away, and let's get your views and your perspectives. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Good morning, caller. What's your name? Yes, good morning.
This is Solomon Ataga.
Solomon Ataga, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Olobo Kingdom.
Please go ahead.
God bless you, presenter, the people in studio there. Just as the first caller said, and when you said the issue of appointment, me as an doing this, I'm not too comfortable the way Mr. President is doing it. I believe the sincerity of democracy is those who serve with sincerity deserve other appointments when having opportunity. I believe in this our state now. We have somebody who has served as SG before, former Solomon Arase. If that man becomes the FCC boss today, I believe Nigeria will be a little progress than being my language and this. And the issue of palliative, it cannot work. Even this our country, the things we produce, we don't hear of it. In my state now, we produce, we generate ties. You cannot even buy the ties. Yes. So I don't really know why the leaders are not ready to do the needful. A country like this, suffering today, our senators have been buying cars of 130-something thousand. We just as that somebody said, we must cry out. We cannot say you have a question just now whether it is not too early. That is what is being the past administration when they were tying road to Niger, when we don't have road in this country. And when you talk, they say, don't worry, you know, that don't really, our justice and all that, what are they doing? Defending the wrong will not make Nigeria move forward. They should try and do the needful. In what we are seeing in this country, okay, a day in office when subsidy was gone. Now, 3 months or 4 months in office, no refinery has been repaired. Nobody is talking about that. The palm oil today is 1,200. This is a country where blessed. What is Malaysia living with? This same palm oil we neglect here. Our agriculture is down. We can. This is unbearable, and I don't even know how we can barely talk and say we are sincerity from God. Let's think between human level. And I want to beg Nigeria. This is not about political party A or C. Let's come together and make Nigeria work so that Nigeria will be comfortable for everyone. I believe every day, every Saturday, you do this program. All about speaking how Nigeria is going to move forward. But still on faith, these people feel as if they don't hear us. I don't really know I don't know where Nigeria is going. We pray. We are still praying. I know Jesus will soon come down again in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your contributions. We truly appreciate you for that. Just a few more calls, and we'll call it a wrap on the program. Tell us your name and where you're calling from, and go ahead with your contribution. The studio line is 08077770300. That's the studio number. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I'm Faru for Upper Sakovaru.
Okay, go ahead, please.
I greet the people who you invite for the studio there. Good morning.
Thank you.
You don't say the palliative way that they do. If for me, either put those money together and use it to empower the youth or use it to do the light. Make the light there everywhere. Just for example, now this week, we will look around the new city. Total blackout and take it or leave it. If we want to boost economy, without power, there's no way economy can grow. Because for me, I even dey surprised because the money where they use today, where they suppose use to do all these things, the money not be their own money, and not be for their salary, and not be for the one where they even they take, but now for our money, our revenue, we will generate. See, the thing is, hello?
Yes, go ahead. They hear you.
The thing they surprise me when this the money they not use that. That palliative and all those year round. Put those money together. Use and subsidize the fuel or use and do the light. Just 3 things. Do light, good head, and road. Now Nigeria don't ask for to do for us. We not saying that God they even they dash us. Even call they dash people money. For me, it don't make any sense. And they say no money, say Nigeria not get money. And they buy car for issues lawmaker 130 million. If they put those money together as this thing, this country deal and the economy deal now, and put those money together, even use our fix light, main light, day light, day. Everybody, Nigeria, they're not lazy. Everybody can even work, active, individually. Let's just like me now, and now this year they do. If the power of the light is there.
Oh, beautiful conversation, I must say, but that's not us at all. I'm sure it was a network problem that discontinued that conversation. Well, if you've been following this program so far, just on our scroll bar, you see some of the appointments made by the present government. The Comptroller General of Customs, the EFCC Chairman, the Bank of Industry of Nigeria. That's just 3, just to mention, but a few. The Central Bank of Nigeria, yes. IGP, yes, go ahead. So several others, and the list is endless. But we'll take this corner. Hello, caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, Josiah John.
Josiah John is calling us from where, sir?
Benin.
Yes, go ahead.
See, I heard people saying you put the wrong peg in the wrong hole. When they employ those people, I will not forgive them. Now that they have finished their tenure, we are now saying it. Who does it help? It helps nobody. So before they finish their tenure, you're supposed to do this correction. So I see no reason for me to be hearing all those kind of language.
All right.
Please, you should try to do something about it.
All right, thank you. Well, that's much we have on the phone segment, but let's take parting shots from our panelists here, Barrister Isekwene.
Well, I urge the president to attest to the constitution to avoid the hatred. It should do everything that will foster unity of Nigeria by adhering to the principles, fundamental principle objectives in our constitution.
All right.
So that we can have a good Nigeria.
All right, Professor Jewere.
Well, it's unfortunate that the president administration have failed to learn from the past. Because like we have already agreed here that Nigerians are supposed to have a sense of belonging. And it's most unfortunate, Duke, I must make this point, that we have reps, representatives in the upper chambers and lower chambers, the House of Reps and the Senate, who would have challenged this thing. Why did they not challenge it and say there must be spread? It means something is wrong somewhere, and we all know the truth.
Okay, Barrister Greg.
There are only 2 political parties in Nigeria, the politicians and the masses. Opposition, I expected you to come together and reject the 130 million naira SUVs. You cannot be opposition only on paper, only on appointment, other things. But when it comes to the interest of the masses, we are all one party. That's why I said there are only 2 parties in Nigeria, the politicians and the masses.
Okay, well, that's just a beautiful way to tell out the program today. But the onus is on Mr. President to work for the unity and peace and progress of this country, even with a fair distribution of the appointments across all the geopolitical zones of the country. 2 rights, they say, can't make a wrong. If one person has done it in the past, we must continue with that legacy. Well, finally, we must strive to bring back our roads. That's the one-man campaign I'm leading today. Bring back our roads. I can't remember the last time I went to my village, Ekboma.
Yes.
I can't remember. And that's certainly not a good thing to think about. And across the country, the story is the same. Agba Road is a no-go area. Sapele Road is completely cut off. The list is endless. Anyway, let's not start another discussion today. That's our program on the program Policies Today on Independent Television and Radio. Be sure to join us next week, Saturday. Till then, stay blessed and bye for now.